Good morning from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. This is Tanya Aarons coming to you from Brisbane, Australia. It's the 29th of November 2023 and it's 8:39 a.m. I'm up early because I haven't really slept much. I've got trouble with my teeth again. My jaw is all swollen and inflamed inside and I'm not feeling too great, but it is what it is. I've woken up, I'm alert, I'm happening, I'm dressed. I decided to not lie around in bed any longer because I had promised myself I was going to stay in bed today until it was time to go and have my debrief, but for some weird reason, usually my characteristic shamanic wild incongruency, I hit the ground running this morning and got out of bed. So here I am. I thought I'll make a video while I've got clarity of mind and thought and synapse processing, which is also unusual early in the morning. So between my lungs and my bladder and now my jaw and teeth, I'm a right rolling mess. But oh well. As usual, psychedelic dreamer, that is me. The Tanya, that is also me, is fighting through all her health difficulties like a seasoned warrior goddess, fighting in the face of her own declension, as I have almost always done, except when I was so ill that I was out for the count. So it's another rainy day. I've got all my washing on the line. It's been out there since yesterday. I put another sheet out there and the sun's peeping out. So I might get my washing dry, but I might not. It's in the lap of the gods. It's all good though. At least the sun's peeping out. It was good to have some solid rain yesterday, as we really have been lacking in water from the heavens. So I begin today's reading. That's if I don't cough myself to death first. And there's a few interesting things that happened on even date. It's entitled An Angel and a Native American Indian Spirit in My Coffee Grounds. Harmonic resonance and lightness of being be mine. Gratitude to the holy ones. And I said that in plural for a reason, because by that I mean there is only one eternal consciousness, but the Holy One in all manifestations, right? Of which you and me and everything around us in this glitching matrix, this hologram, they reckon it's all a hologram now, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But in the multiverses, we are all aspects of the one divinity. Although some of us have conveniently forgotten that. And yes, interesting times, as have always been interesting in every era of humanity's existence. So I write, oh wow, can you see her? Looking right back at me? Gorgeous. Thank you, angels, spirits, ancestors that love me. My prayer is heard. I must only wait. This was from the 29th of November, 2019. And it's the enlarged photo because I made it as a, as the title piece. Let me see. Hard to see if you can see it. Oh yes, there it is. So if you look carefully, you have to kind of stretch your imagination a little bit, but he is there very distinctly. At first view, when you looked at this image, you see an angel where there's a head, there's like kind of a long cape and the dress and what looks like either a wing or an arm stretched out. There's another, what looks like a bit of a wing. So actually, looking at this properly, they're facing to the left. I always kind of thought until now that they're facing face on, but I guess it's open to interpretation, right? But then when you look again, very, very clearly you can see in the black shadowing, even with the light reflecting on it, two eyes, a bit of a nose of which the angel's head is obscuring his nose, and his or her wing is obscuring a little bit. Oh, not really, because here you see under where the ring is, like the Cupid's bow and lips, very beautiful shaped lips, kissable lips. And then here, a very square, chiseled looking jaw. And then down here, the man's throat, neck, you can even see the Adam's apple a bit formed here, right? He's like slim build with quite a beautiful elongated neck with like musculature even demarcated there. And then round here you see his long hair and what looks like here even a feather like a Native American brave used to wear in his hair to well, as a sign in his tribe of his status, I guess. And you can't see it in this photo, but in the original photo, which I'll have to dig out of my archives and repost on here because it's much clearer, over in this quadrant, which you can't see it clearly in this one, was quite distinctly what looked like a wolf face standing at the, by this man's side. So it was like the gift that keeps giving, because clearly you see, well, I can see him quite clearly, a Native American man with a wolf, which is my spirit animal, and the angel in white actually superimposed over his face, right? So I found that so astonishing that I actually got chills. Now bear in mind, back in 2012 or 2011, I had a healing from an Ojibwa Maduan man, which is third level below a medicine man, who said he would light up my spirit so that I would find my true love partner. And I said, well, how will I know that has happened? He said, oh, because I'll light up his spirit too, and you will recognize each other across all paradigms, eons, blah, 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 blah. It's all very romantic and sweet, right? Now, I did indeed meet someone that I recognized the light surrounding them, but I now believe it was a false light because that man had brought nothing but evil to me with sabotage, maliciousness, using, abusing, slandering me in the Irish Murphy's pub with all my so-called friends and cohorts there. What else did he do? Oh, it just goes on and on and on. It went on till about 2020 when he even finally realised that enough was enough. and he came to visit me at a drumming circle, which he knew I attended regularly, and basically came up to me and said, "Goodbye." And his eyes were just literally spinning. So I think he was on drugs or something, or he was under the influence of something demonic. So I just looked into his eyes and went, "Yeah, bye." And that was how we got closure, really. But not quite, because he still continued to cycle around me up until 2022, when I finally got pissed off with him appearing at various crossroads, intersections, even at underneath the Whites Hill supermarket car park. I drove out of there and he's sitting there in his Jeep directly opposite me. Now, these probably weren't deliberate stalking events. Like, he probably wasn't consciously stalking me. It was spiritual. That's how bonded we were spiritually. Which is why I freak out if I meet anyone new and there's that same level of spiritual intensity, right? Because I don't want another fucking psychic vampire, love bite, twin flame, fucking nightmare like I had with that last guy. It was horrendous. And he wasn't even as threatening or as dangerous as previous lovers who had actually attacked me, but it was the psychological warfare that went on for, nearly 10 years. That was so debilitating. At one point, I actually all got too much for me and I did attempt suicide in 2015. But as I say, quite righteously and fairly, that wasn't all on him either. I was under full-blown psychic, financial, physical, mental, spiritual, legal, you name it, everything was thrown at me that year. So that was one of my worst ani horribili, which I still don't know why I'm alive today, how I survived it. But here we are, it's now 2023, and this spirit that appeared in my cup is still very much with me at times. I don't know who he is, what his name is, but every now and then he tweaks my spirit, right? And he's a powerful protector spirit. I mean, I'm a white Jewish, witch hobbit woman from New Zealand. I'm what you call in the Māori language a Pakeha. I don't have a drop of Indigenous blood in me, even though I have very much an Indigenous spirit in the way I look at life and my worldview. But I wonder if these were my ancestors, if in another lifetime I was in their tribe, because they come to me quite regularly with guidance, musing, inspiration, protection. On dark days when I think, oh, I can't do this life one more fucking moment, which I do have dark days like that, with monotonous regularity because of my health issues. And, the fact that I live alone and I don't have a love partner, and I get quite naturally distressed at times. So on really dark times, the spirit and other guiding and protecting spirits and ancestors that love me. And sometimes even that dark demon, David Davidson, my former lover from 2000, it ended by 2001, which he's not actually welcome in my energetic field. And, you'll hear me, if he comes around while I'm online, I'll say, fuck off out of my house. But even he, in some weird, twisted way, is trying to give me messages or guidance at times, and I decide, in any given moment if I'll accept that from him or not. Usually I don't, but then very often in recent memory his guidance has been validated, which has been a bit astonishing. So I don't know what's going on in the etheric world and in the Ein Sof Or and the light, but I can see from my own personal experiences and evolution of my own spirit heart, mind, body, soul, that something or someone, we could call it God, but I don't know if it's even that high up in the echelon of, in the hierarchy of holiness, but something is definitely supporting me and sending me so much love and encouragement and mana, strength, power, mojo to complete my mission on earth. And I know, well, I know, but it's also a long-held hope and dream of mine that they, the spirit world, are actually working hard to give me the life I always dreamed about, even at this late stage of life when it's the 11th hour. It's my infamous 11th hour that Lynn and I often giggle about. When I go, this is it, I'm done, I can't do this anymore, this is over, and I prepare to either die or walk away from a situation. At that 11th hour, which is almost magical in my life, someone or something comes as a way shower or lights up my life enough to give me enough hope, enough resilience, enough love to continue on with my journey. And this has happened, many, many times, but unfortunately the sexual partners in the past were malevolent and evil and dangerous, which is why I have my little flip outs whenever I meet anyone new. Even if they seem really lovely, I just think, show me your dark side, baby, so I know what I'm having to deal with now, rather than fight for my survival in a life swirling fight to the death, down the track. Which the grief that comes with that when it's someone you loved and trusted and made love to and honoured and respected, when they betray you like that, it's that grief that is what nearly kills me more even than the physical or sexual attacks, right? It's the grief of having yet again opened up to the wrong person. So this angel and Native American spirit coming in that form, showing themselves in the cup, it's not random, people. It was a sign. And bear in mind, at that point in time, I had just literally recovered from a serious vomiting, gastro, asthma attack, and nearly died yet again, which I had only had a near-death experience a few months prior on the 25th of June in the hospital, right? So I was being hammered every which way. If you don't do what we want you to do, if you don't choose consistently life, if you don't accept our mission, and like I say, how can I accept a mission when I don't know what it is? Duh. But, the spirits were constantly showing me towards the end of that year, you're here for a reason, Tanya. We want you here on earth. We don't want you coming home to us. We don't want you dying. And after the malevolence I had endured with that last lover, and not just him, but all the viciousness that had surrounded me, the false friends and the false tribe and the false, you name it, I wanted out. I was praying daily, please just let me get out, let me get off this mortal coil, please, I beg you. And when they sent me back after the 25th of June 2019 event, they told me quite openly, we're sending you back to a hellscape of epic proportions. And I cried and I begged like a bitch in that hospital room. And there were witnesses, by the way, because I was in a room with another woman, had a bed next to me. She was terrified. She could hear me arguing with the spirits, right? With the whoever it was I was speaking to. She could hear me because I was yelling and crying and begging, please don't do this to me. Please, no more. I can't take any more torture. Please don't do this to me. And there was a man in the adjoining room, had a bed in the adjoining room, which he was obviously not too ill because he was sitting up in his chair when I had to get up to pee around 4 in the morning. And he also would have heard me talking to the spirits and begging them to just let it end, right? And he just looked at me in horror because to get to the toilet, I was still having to hold on to the, the pole that holds the drip. I still had a drip in my side. And I had to shuffle. I could hardly walk. Actually, the nurse came in and got me up and told me to stamp my feet, get the circulation going. But she didn't aid me to go to the toilet. She went off again, which was weird. Maybe she might have aided me the first time, I can't remember. But at this point in time, 4 a.m, I was mobile, went to the toilet on my own 2 little tootsies, right, with this, dragging this pole with me. So as I walked past that man whose, door was open, he just stared at me like this, like, I don't know what he was seeing, probably thinking, Jesus, she's got guts getting up to piss, because I was very weak, very, very weak. But I have this phobia and horror of being incontinent and peeing my bed, On rare occasions when it has happened, I lived with the shame of it for 3 days. And that's a trauma response because that's how I was tortured as a child. If I, soiled myself or peed my bed, I was actually told that I was an animal. So it's part of the reasons why I hate being vulnerable and weak. I hate being at the mercy of other humans. I hate being at the mercy of authority figures. And although I crave death on often an almost daily basis, I'm actually frightened of the dying process, not death itself, but of being vulnerable and at the mercy of other people that, God forbid if I got Alzheimer's and had to wear adult diapers, for example. I saw how those people were treated in the old people's home where my mother was. It was so traumatising and abhorrent. So I don't want that for myself. But of course, if that time arises that my mind completely turns to mush, I won't have the cognition anyway to know what's happening, right? Which is a small mercy, a very small mercy, because you glitch in and out of consciousness even at that stage. Well, my mother did. So, anyway, I'm up there making my way to the toilet, and this man just looked at me in absolute awe. And I'm like, why are you looking at me like that? I'm fucking trying not to die here. I'm just doing what everyone has to do, which is piss. But anyway, I didn't get angry with him. I just observed him looking at me like in absolute awe and amazement. So I don't know, maybe I had my angel with me at that point in time and he was witnessing the light around me, which is quite intense, It's not my light. I'm just an ordinary mortal being, but, when my angels come in to protect me or assist me in times like that, when I'm very, very weak and very, very sick and very vulnerable, it is astonishing. The first thing that my beautiful hairdresser, who has obviously her own psychic abilities, said when I arrived yesterday to get my hair done. Now, yesterday I felt like hell. I felt quite ill actually, but intrepidly, I have these appointments once every 8 weeks, and my one vanity is I like to have my hair looking a bit nice, because what else have I got going on in life? So I arrived, and the first thing out of her mouth when I arrived was, "You have a really high vibration, Tanya." And I was like, "Kylie, I feel like hell today." I said, "If I didn't have an appointment with you today, I would have probably been tempted to stay in bed." And she just looked at me. She said, "You never show how ill you are." She said, "You always look kind of radiant to me." But that's true love. That's when your friends... She is my hairdresser, but we've become friends over the many years that I've been seeing her. That's when you know your friends really love you. When the sight of you dragging your sorry fat carcass around, feeling literally like death on your last breath, looks like high vibration and radiance. So you kind of have to laugh. So I sort of looked at her a bit in horror and went, okay, Kylie. She says, you're always smiling, you're always uplifting. She says, you always, whenever people see you, you always smile through, even through your pain. She said, it's actually quite wonderful. So that's true love, darlings, true love. Plus she makes me look gorgeous too in her professional capacity as a wonderful hairdresser. So I'm grateful and I'm very blessed. So anyway, we continue on. My Ojibwa man, I don't know if he was from the Ojibwa tribe, that man in that cup, but I'm assuming that was the connection, right? That energy is still with me, and I am grateful and I am blessed. I still haven't developed a true love partnership with anyone, but there is a potential, so one never knows in life. I am surrounded by a lot of love in recent weeks, a lot of kind souls literally coming online, lighting up in front of me, even in my dance space, and I'm just quietly observing, because I said all along that when this COVID epoch, when the dust settles from this COVID epoch, that people would start to enliven and enlighten and light up again, and would start looking for true love partnerships, because they had been oppressed and suppressed so much that people gave up hope even on love. And my psychiatrist and I both concurred on that. This was back in, when did we discuss this? 2021, 2022. And we're seeing it now. I'm definitely seeing it. People wanting to be, finding their small tribes or communities, their love partners, people that they can trust to be with them in dark and scary times, but also in joyous, celebratory, loving, joyful times as well. And as people are coming together and finding each other, in my case, at long last, then we will also light up those around us. Because nothing is more contagious and beautiful than two people in genuine, heartfelt love. I even see it when I'm out dancing, the couples that sit on each other's laps and cuddle in front of me, and they're kind of looking at me. And I could look at it with envy and go, oh, why don't I have that in my life? Oh, that's just so awful. But I don't. I look at them and I rejoice and think, one day I will have someone that's proud and happy to be out dancing with me and have me, well, I'm too fat to sit on a man's lap. I'd crush his bollocks, but someone that I could snuggle up to sweetly and be all sweet. And, it could happen one day. I have to laugh though, because, no, it could happen. Let's not laugh too much. It could actually happen, And I do have my sweet friends that are affectionate and sweet, my platonic male friends in the club, who blow me kisses, or, I'll kiss their cheek in gratitude for their sweetness. So there is that level of intimacy that is, harmless and not really sexualized, just a sweetness. And I'm actually happy and grateful for that, because I have walked through the desert of lovelessness and torment and envy and spite and insecurities and jealousies and malevolence of other mortal men for fucking decades. So it's about time that my time has come. And this spirit showing himself in 2019, I took that as a sign that, my true love partnership is coming and I need only wait. And here we are, 4 long, grueling, because I had to get through the COVID epoch propaganda and viciousness. 4 long, grueling years later, I'm starting to see it blossom out very sweetly and kindly and beautifully, for which I am both astonished and grateful. So, 29th of November 2021. I'm really struggling mentally today. Difficulty in framing any sort of coherence in this COVID paradigm. The ugliness of other mortals et al. Now bear in mind, before the COVID, I was struggling too. Every epoch in my life has been an almighty struggle. But I have fought back the evils of our times each and every time, sometimes hopelessly and haplessly, but I fought back. I tried to make a beautiful and meaningful life for myself and for my friends and people around me because of my high vibration that apparently other people are seeing now, which I find astonishing. But there you go, there you have it. Time to step away from Facebook and sit in my garden and breathe light, love, and the infinite kindness of the earth, which is how I keep my vibration high, by the way, by grounding every day. Even with my bare feet on the ground, even at risk of nappy pins and, tetanus and septic arthritis, I continuously ground myself on my garden, on my earth, on my little plot of space that I'm allowed to live on by divine and bureaucratic decree. Even though I own nothing and I'm allegedly supposed to be happy, but I'm not happy about how houses and businesses and cars and wealth was torn from me by governmental malevolence. But that was then, this is now, 29 years later. Tonight's dinner, this is from 2020. Zucchini chips, air fried, made with the lovely parmesan and zucchini Margot gave me, and with almond meal. Yummy. Now, I didn't do a very good job of it. They're not well coated and what have you, but they did taste yummy. However, I did do them in the air fryer because I thought that would be healthier, but I think they would have been better deep fried, really. They would have tasted better, but they would have been a bit, how's your father on my liver that doesn't, and because I don't have a pancreas, so I don't create enough bile to process oily food. So I chose the air fryer route because less oil, right? So it wouldn't ravage my gut. But they were nice, but I do like my fried food, unfortunately. I bought fish and chips on the way home from my hairdresser yesterday, which I was really looking forward to, those fish and chips. And I tucked into the fish, and it literally tasted like the fish had been soaked in bleach. I should have taken it back and thrown it in their faces and demanded a refund. It was so awful. I actually took a few bites and thought, am I imagining that I'm tasting or smelling bleach? And bear in mind, I'm not all that fond of fish anyway, but it wasn't a fishy smell, it was a bleach smell. So I got home, I ate the 2 pineapple fritters, which thankfully they didn't taste of bleach, and I ate the chips, and I threw the fish out into the garden. And I actually worry about it. I hope it didn't make the birds sick, because it was vile. To cover for the fact that the fish was a bit old, I suppose, they bleached it. It's disgusting to do that, really disgusting. And it was inedible. I had about 3 bites, because I kept thinking, oh no, I must be imagining it each time. And then I smelt it, and this has got bleach in it. So I threw it out. I wasn't going to take any chances with my gut, which is already very, very highly sensitive, So, dear goddess. So that was my fish and chips. But anyway, like I say, too much oily food will create havoc, so it's probably a good thing that I didn't eat that fish. Now, this is going to be a bit embarrassing, this story, because it's a dream I had that I recorded. This is back in 2020. So, bear with me. This morning I had an erotic dream, which is highly unusual for me, actually. I like my eroticism when it happens on rare occasions to actually be in 3D reality with a real person. I don't like porn. I don't ever watch porn. I find that, boring as shit, really. And I don't do online dating because, again, it's just weird. I think it's weird. And I don't... The only kind of porn I might watch is occasionally I'll watch a risque movie that's got a bit of soft porn in it. And, like I actually years ago enjoyed Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence. That was quite erotic. Really, it was soft porn, but it was well done. And it's also directly from the classic book, right? So I don't mind watching that kind of porn if it actually is from a novel, a work of absolute wonderful literature. I will enjoy that. And on very rare occasions on Netflix or something, I'll be watching something that'll turn quite erotic, and I'll be like... So I might watch it or I might not, depending on how seedy it gets. I'm really quite weird about... I am quite weird about my sexuality in some instances. But I'm okay with that. I function quite happily in my own little psychedelic dream as well. But anyway, I had this dream. Oh, gosh. I was staying in a hotel with 2 other women. One was a childhood friend whom I actually contacted yesterday, who is always ambivalent and tells me she is working long hours, so I will write her off. She makes no effort to maintain our friendship, so painfully, fuck that. Well, we were close as children, and she does drift off, and I have her on a very long tether, and I drift off, and years will go by. But eventually the love still remains between us because she grew up with me like a sister. And so I'm going to visit her in February, and I'm very, very excited and happy about it. And this is if I can rustle up the money. And she's also very excited to see me again. It's been 20 years. But at this point in time, 2020, she was working long hours, as she says, and very traumatised by the COVID epoch, as everyone on earth was. So we were kind of drifting. So it was a strange dream that I was dreaming of her. And here I say, the other woman looked like a friend's sister. And I don't know which particular friend, but anyway, I recognised the face, so obviously it was someone that I recognised. Anyway, we had shared a hotel suite as we had gone to see a band. Also something I have never done, stayed in a hotel in order to see a band. Due to my poverty issues, not having a partner to take me places. It is what it is, right? So again, I was sort of sitting up taking notice because that's an unusual thing that I've not done in real life. The room was full of light. And also that is something else I take notice, because it's a worry when I see people in that aspect, because often it means they've passed away. And thankfully, my friend is still, very well and living and amongst us, and I'm going to visit her in February, as I keep manifesting. It was a nice, clean, airy hotel room with white doona and sheets. Anyway, somehow they brought this young man up to our room. He was so white, his skin almost glowed. Blonde, lithe, slim. I had not taken too much notice of him and thought he was interested in my friend. In real life, I often miss these vital clues, lol. Which is one of my cute things about me, is I completely oblivious to when a man's genuinely interested in me sometimes. Unless he's like overt and puts his hand on me, and then I'll slather on one with a good belting, but But usually if they're just like, hovering around, I'm just like, oh, I literally will look over at the women around me thinking they mean them, Takes me a while. Sometimes the women around me will say, hey, that guy's interested in you. And then I'll have to look up and go, oh, is that what's going on? I can be that oblivious, It's actually quite comical at times. Anyway, my childhood friend left to find her other lesbian friends. The other woman left to go get drunk. I said to the young man, now bear in mind this is a dream, but it's so typical of what I would say in real life. I am not going to have sex with you or anyone. He said very politely, oh, that is great, but I just want to enjoy your company. I rolled my eyes. Anyway, the dreamscape shifted to me asking the guy what he did for a living. Skiing, he said. Oh, I replied, I like skiing. That's another thing I haven't done in decades. Literally decades, like since I was first married to my husband when I was 19 years old. So, I'm 58, so yeah, nearly 40 years I haven't skied. But anyway, I was only a beginner skier anyway, but I did enjoy that. That was the one sporting activity I did enjoy. Anyway, so he sort of lies on top of me and kisses me. His body feels light, and somehow I welcome him. He kisses me, a shy, tentative kiss. Our tongues gently touch each other, and I feel this electric thrill of long, contained passion. In my mind, I'm saying to myself, don't do it, Tanya. A fucking ski instructor. Jesus. Even in my dreams, I am a realist. The door flings open, and it's the friend's sister. Her eyes are bloodshot from booze, and she is staggering and looks at us on the bed and starts to cry. Come back in 30 minutes. It seems I am suddenly determined to have the sex I was not planning on having. Typical. I woke up feeling the power of that gentle, persuasive kiss. Remember, it's a dream, and that one had so many red flags it was going to be a nightmare. Or perhaps not. Perhaps one of my casual encounters that did not wreak much harm as they flew by night and were gone in the morning. No hassles, no epic fucking stalking, no falling in complicated, messy love. Yes, I like that outcome much better. Here's me worrying about a dream lover. Now that's sad, people. That's really fucking sad. But anyway. But I'm writing this down as it was the kiss that was the message. A sweetness. It's been so long since I have experienced sweet, romantic love that it struck me as rather odd. There is only one whose kisses I miss, and well, he turned out to be a Machiavellian, trickster spirit, Dybbuk-ridden fool, fueled by envy and spite. I love him anyway. It's very ironic that the only true love comes to me in the form of pets, small children, and heart-centered true friends. But so ennobling and gracious, better than any false, feckless, faithless lover, man. So, my poor brain, slowly dying with sleep apnea as she does every fucking day, was dreaming of being kissed. That was 2020. I still haven't been kissed, by the way, but that's because I don't let anyone kiss me because kissing leads to sex. No, not always, but I'm very, very cautious of that. And also, the thing that used to really disgust me the most when I was still dancing at the casino was there were a few women that used to lasciviously... Oh, actually at that point in time, well, the year before even, 2019, 2020, would lasciviously get drunk and then trawl around the live wire bar and French kiss, tongue kissing very erotically, like blah, 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 blah. I just used to go bleh, bleh. Nearly every man in the live wire bar, and of course the men loved it, didn't they? Oh, getting kissed by the local schlumpfers, you know. And but I'd be looking all horrified, and not because I'm a prude really, because I'm not really a prude, but I just thought, they don't even know these men, they don't know where they've been, they don't know what diseases they have. Oh, it just made me feel ill, and I used to look at it and think, oh. One was like a giant fucking Teletubby. She was fat like me, but she always wore jeans, and oh God, she looked repulsive. And she hooked up with Dave, so that was also upsetting because he used to weaponize by shoving her in my face, and I just look at her and think, ugh. Anyway, she'd get so drunk. One time she was so drunk, she actually did a forward roll on the floor of the casino, like just a roly-poly, and I was standing on my spot and dancing wildly, but observing the whole floor as I used to do with my hypervigilance, and watching her roll over in a roly-poly because she was so fucking drunk and incoherent. I just stood there dancing, but like laughing at her. She deserved that. She actually deserved that because she was a fucking piece of work. But you know what? Like kills like, as my ex-lover Davidson used to love to say. She and Dave deserved each other. They were so fucking crass and debauched and ugly, like soul ugly, like deep, deep soul ugliness. I mean, he was actually quite a good-looking man, but he was a creature of the night, wasn't he? Well, anyway, they deserved each other. So at this point in time, I'm looking at it and I thought, why am I crying over that fucking malevolent Machiavellian twat? Because look at the calibre of woman he's hooked up with. Not even someone that I could say, oh, I lost out to someone wonderful, that I can say, oh well, I'll just lick my wounds and crawl away because, I can't compete against that. I just look at it and think that was the level of sophistication and dignity and grace that he wanted. And I was still crying over him at that point in time. I was like, oh, what the fuck, Tanya? Oh, what the fuck? You have to up-level yourself, girlfriend. You're too good for this scene. And yet I stayed dancing in that same spot, loyal, except for when I got mandated out for 6 months, by the crazy government mandates, which were just insane. That's the only time I stayed away in recent years, was that mandate. And when I came back to the casino, or even the security staff were so thrilled to see me, they all said, oh, where have you been? I went, well, the government fucked my vibe, babies. It's the only reason I haven't been here. And they were like, oh, we're so glad to see you. We thought you died. And I was like, me? Die? Do you know how hard it is for me to die? Like, come on, seriously. You think COVID's going to kill me? Are you kidding me? And they'd be like, do you know how many times I have died in the last 4 years? And they'd be like, anyway, and I resumed my little spot and off I went. And up until the 5th of August this year, when that tech guy was so malevolent, after being sweet to me for months, putting the fan on me through the heat of summer, making sure I was comfortable, because I said to him, I struggle with my lungs, and when I dance too much and sweat too much, I'm worried that I'm going to fucking black out, So he was kind in that aspect, put this big commercial fan on me so I could keep cool while I was dancing. And then turned rabid and said that I wasn't 5-star enough for the new casino, and they didn't want me in my spot. They didn't want me sitting on the stage, on the corner of the stage, which I know is an anomaly, but I had that little spot for 13 years. And, they were so malevolent that I walked out and I'll never go back, right? But I stayed a loyal customer for 13 years to that debauched fucking hellhole where I had to witness my former lovers, not just Dave, but the other fucking mad Italian stallion, literally writhe. One woman was a long-time casino friend of mine, another Israeli woman. We were friends. I wouldn't say we were close friends. We didn't socialise outside of the casino, but we were friends for many years. He would writhe all over her and bring her right up in my face and try and humiliate me, make me jealous. And I would just like, talk to the hand. Talk to the fucking hand. If you behave like trash, don't even expect me to acknowledge you, because you're just low-grade scum. But I never held it against the Israeli woman, because she had very bad schizophrenia and mental health issues, and, she was madly in love with him too, so she probably didn't want to see that he was actually being fucking evil, malevolent, doing that to me. So, but I had to tolerate all that shitty, ugly, awful, adolescent, crass behaviour, for fucking 13 years. So now you know why I'm so thrilled and excited and delighted and genuinely astonished to have been welcomed so magnanimously and gorgeously at the Brooklyn Standard. And also I don't have any old flames, apart from, Dave's cousin the first time I went there cycling around me. But I don't have any old flames, stalking me on my dance floor where I'm dancing my wild moshing tribal stomp, shoving their conquests in my face like dead rats that my cat used to bring in to show off what a good boy he was, It's so refreshing to not have that level of constant fucking stress, of men being just fucking crass, you know. But that went on for many years. And I continuously fought that and rose above it and rose above it and rose above it. Because at the end of the day, it's not about me and their trickster games and their evil. It's about them not being able to behave like sophisticated adult men with dignity and honour and integrity shown to me. Because they were such low-life scum fucking trash. And I don't want a man like that ever again near me. I really don't. Behave like a real man or fuck off. A real man doesn't want to torment his love interests like that, you know. He wouldn't do it because he's got heart and soul and grace and dignity and honour. That's what I'm holding out for anyway. And my little psychedelic dreaming that goes round and round and round on a groove. But anyway, I'm grateful to the gods for healing me from that last awful, malevolent love. Well, it wasn't really even a relationship. What can you call it? Love torment. It took a long time to heal, and I'm grateful that that time has come. And that I'm ready to allow someone gorgeous and heartfelt and kind into my life at long last. But as Rat Hashem, by the will of God, that time is imminent. (2:28 a.m. This is still on the in 2020, on the 29th of November 2020. 2:28 a.m. I am unable to sleep. I have been overstimulated. I just got to find my fan. Hang on, I'll be right back. One of my little hot flushes, I guess. It's only 23 degrees, so it's not that hot, so it's me. It's not you, it's me. It's weird because I haven't had too many hot flushes in recent weeks, so I guess I'm not all that well. Where was I? Oh yes, 2:28 a.m. I am unable to sleep. I've been overstimulated and restless all day yesterday. I should be exhausted, but I lie here fighting off sleep. I had a powerful urge to go to the casino earlier tonight, but decided there is no point as there is no dancing. It really felt like the call of the wild. Instead, I spent the evening decoupaging 2 boxes while watching a show on Stan called Gangs of London. Well, half watching, more listening to it as I had to concentrate on gluing pictures down. I set up one of my looms yesterday afternoon, intending to start another tapestry weaving. This is unusual as I have not even formulated a design, and I have not done a weaving for about 10 years. But I sat in my hammock in the hot afternoon sun and prepared the loom, which I subsequently gave away to someone that came to buy something for me on Marketplace. And she came into my home and she saw the loom. I said, you can have that. It's taking up too much space in my jewellery studio. I need every inch of space for that. So I just randomly gave it to her. I must have been off my head, right? It was worth at least $50. But oh well, who cares? I can afford to be kind and generous sometimes, even with my meagre resources. I had to laugh at the fact that I still had the original sewing string that I bought when I did my first weaving for Tully's class back in 1985, which was not long after my daughter Crystal was born, so I used to take her to the class with me. I am such a hoarder, but it has come into good use. Peter and Robin stopped by with their little dog Coco, who was madly in love with me. And I must say, I'm really missing seeing little Coco on a daily basis since Peter moved in with Robin. And I miss seeing him and Robin too. You know, they were good friends all through the COVID epoch, the last 3 years, like regularly kept tabs on me and would come past and call out, Coco wants to see you. Coco's got withdrawal symptoms from Mama T. And that's how sweet he was, how he used to talk to me, you know. I'd be like, is it Coco who wants to see me? Or is it you? And we'd just sort of laugh, you know. So he was a very sweet friend, and Robin was also a sweet friend to me. And hopefully we are still friends. I just haven't seen them for a while, but Robin did ring me 2 Sundays ago and said that his mother's on the downhill spiral to death now in the home, which is 94, you know. Oh, dear goddess. And so they've been like, you know, busy with that and busy doing finishing touches to her new home. And so we'll see each other again. But yeah, it's hard because I've been sitting here all alone. Beauregard died, and then through no fault of my own, I lost my little Coco friend who used to visit regularly. Anyway, Coco, who was madly in love with me, she really is a sweet little dog. They said she refused to budge from my front gate the past 2 days as I was not home, and she missed me. Sweet. They admired my newly completed mosaic table and offered me wool for my stash when they saw my loom, and the loom I rescued from their curbside collection. Peter said his father had made it. So it was a lovely loom, but I actually gave it away because it just took up too much space, and I got it for free, so I didn't want to charge someone else because it came to me freely. And move the energy on, you know. Move the energy on. It was a very nice woman that came to buy something. I had something in copper, actually. And she said, I've got ADHD and I can't focus. And she was looking around my house and she was spinning on a dime. And she wasn't actually a poor woman. She drove a freaking Volvo or something. But I just said, you know what? I said, just have it if you're going to use it. She was thrilled, you know. Anyway, share and share alike, except I don't share my men. So don't bring your floozies up in my face to humiliate me. I'm not jealous. I realise that people have other women on the go, sometimes multiple women, but be dignified about it. There's no need to be cruel. Even one night, back in 2015, when I went home with Dave, you know, I said to Dave, just walk ahead of me. I'll meet you outside. You know, we'll go to the car park together because I always had my car parked in either the Maya Centre or under the casino. He says, oh, why are you doing that? And I said, because discretion is a better part of valour. And I said, I very rarely go home with anyone, as you know, so I don't want everyone seeing and thinking I'm this big fucking floozy. And also I said, I have friends here that are sweet on me and I don't want to hurt their feelings. And sure enough, as we were leaving, Dave walking ahead of me, I saw my friend Len, who was always a gentleman, always very sweet. He was from Vietnam. And he'd always never asked me out because he was too shy. But he'd always danced with me over many years. And I knew he was a little bit sweet on me. So as we were leaving, he looked at Dave, who was in front, probably looking a bit smug as men do when they know they're about to get some, right? And then I'm trawling a bit behind. He looked at me, and he could probably see on my face that I was like, not smug, but astonished that I was actually going home with him. And I just sort of dropped my head. But the look on Len's face, he knew. Even though we didn't walk together, he knew we were leaving together. And he just looked at me like this. And he was fucking devastated. So as we walked down, we got down the escalator, I said to Dave, now you see why I did that? I said, you should have seen the look on Len's face. He was devastated. And I said, I'm not here to hurt people's feelings. Like, they've got harmless crushes on me that in all these years they've never said, let's go out, Tanya. You know, let's take you out. Let's see how this evolves into a real relationship. I said, but when they see me with you, they fall apart. So now you know. It's like, I'm not crass. I don't do things to hurt people's feelings, not deliberately, you know. Not unless I'm in a full-blown emotional war with someone, but, you know, even then, I very rarely don't make public displays of things. There's no need for that. It's just infantile and sadistic. But I was on the receiving end of infantile and sadistic from Dave for fucking years, wasn't I? So that was another reason why I was not going to behave like that. That's not my role modelling. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to become that. It was just crass. So, but yes, sweet Len. He was a very kind man to me, been very kind to me in times when I'd actually been physically attacked at the Irish Murphys. He was always around me in some level, you know, with a real genuine heartfelt sweetness and kindness towards me. But too in awe of me or intimidated by me on some level to actually want to date me or have a sexual partnership with me, which is perfectly okay. But that night was like, he probably knew how dangerous it was that I was even engaging with that one. It was dangerous, and I did spiral under afterwards. False love, false, feckless, cruel, sadistic love is the worst thing that can happen to you. It's worse. It is the absolute worst. But I have subsumed and overcome it, and I have healed, and my life is awesome now. Every day in every way, even alone, it's fucking awesome. Far more preferable than being in a shallow, empty, cruel, sadistic love partnership with a man who's sick. And for a long time, I actually thought it was me that was sick. And it took years and years of my psychiatrist to say, no, Tanya, no. Your only crime is you love too much. And we've got to work on that so that you learn how to pull that back and not give too much of yourself away, of your heart and soul. He said, because these fucking psychic vampires will just continuously drain the fuck out of you, which they did do. Anyway, I'm holding my energy in my core by the grace of the Holy One and all manifestations, and by the grace of my beautiful, heartfelt, loving friends and my doctor. I'm holding my own at long last on sacred ground, on planet Earth, in my own body, mind and spirit. And that is awesome. So anyway, I continue. So I've been frenetically busy in the past few months. Yesterday was intense. I would get in my hammock, read a few paragraphs, then jump out to move the garden hose around the garden, make a cup of tea or pour water to drink, constantly unable to settle down and relax. It was like I am anticipating some marvellous event. Oh dear goddess. But the only exciting thing is it's a blue moon and Mama T has some moon madness or hypomania on board. I should have gone out, at least for a quick flick of the pokies and a drink, which is weird because I very rarely, and here I say it, but I have zero interest in the pokies and I rarely gamble. Just can't afford it, have no interest in it. And sitting around drinking without a live band is just boring to me. Also, being a sitting duck for every weirdo in the Brisbane CBD would just irritate me, which is why you very rarely saw me sitting around tuning people up. I was always dancing wildly, creating that space around me, making myself very, very fucking unavailable, even in a crowd. Which Dave, but when I did meet him back in 2014, when I met him the second time, did comment. He said, why is this night different to all other nights? Why are you actually sitting down and talking to people? I said, because I've hurt my back and I'm vulnerable and I'm only held together right now by painkillers and attitude. He just looked at me in awe, you know. That was how that blossoming friendship started. Me being fucking vulnerable. Dear goddess, that should have been the red flag right there. But anyway, he was gorgeous and I did fall in love with him, and that was then and this is now. And I'm looking forward to falling in love again after many, many years of heartache with someone genuine this time. I shall channel that into getting some housework done tomorrow, meaning that the moon is full, my heart is full, and I have an abundance of psychic energy to burn. Yeah, it would have been better, instead of lying in bed sleepless in Brisbane, to channel it into doing housework, right? November 29, 2019. He is lying on my thigh, snuggling. My gorgeous boy. Big loves that can't be replaced, can't ever, no two loves are ever exactly the same, by the way. My beautiful boy. And here I wrote, another one bites the dust, 2019. So, strong smell of cigar smoke wafting through my open window, so it's either a spirit or my neighbour is smoking near my house, although he only smokes cigarettes. Odd. I did ask him recently. He said yes, occasionally he does smoke cigars. So all that time I thought I was being fucking haunted, right? So that's okay. I was glad to find out that I wasn't going stark raving mad. Laura Martin wrote, maybe you are being haunted by Groucho Marx. And I replied, ha 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 ha. So I too like to smoke a cigar, you know, those little wee Willem cigars. On very rare occasions I do like to smoke them. I can't remember the last time I've smoked a cigar though. It must be a couple of years, because my lungs are shot to pieces completely now. I have to be very careful. I had a cigarette with my friend Lynn. Oh yes, because I was so fucking distressed after going to the Holocaust museum with her. I said to her, we have to go outside, we have to sit on the ground, we have to ground. She was like, well, I need a cigarette anyway. She's a heavy smoker. And I said, can I bum one off you? And she went, really, Tanya? Really? Because my lungs are so bad now. And I went, yep, really, I want a cigarette, please. So we sat down. I bought us a sausage sizzle that some charity was doing there. We had a sausage on bread and a cigarette. And we sat there on the grounds of the St. Stephen's Cathedral. Yeah, recalibrating from the trauma. It was quite intense, actually. Little man who turns out to be little woman, my Charlie, is nibbling on Mama and worrying about her too. I am deeply, deeply loved. Here she is. Sitting at pathology for my long put-off blood test. As I promised my doctor on Monday, then promptly had a severe gastric and asthma event on Tuesday evening. I am like death, only slightly warmed up, so the blood results should be interesting. However, as usual, I am a force of indomitable will, even to be up dressed and out this early in the morning. My lungs are bad, okay, but that is nothing unusual. The rising and shining is in a state of metamorphosis. Hack. I had moments of almost hysteria in the past few days, but surfed those emotions too. My body is amazing. She won't let go of life, of love, of hope. 29th of November 2016. And this is in response to an article posted by psychologytoday.com that says, why you don't always have to forgive. And I replied, this is in 2016, people. There are some people in my life that I will never forgive. I am at peace with that decision. Their level of destruction was too damaging. Forgiving them would be as perverted and pointless as forgiving Adolf Hitler, Stalin, and Pol Pot. I have had to forgive the fact they were never capable of any sense of accountability to their victims. To forgive my own victimhood, which was undeserved and which led to cascades of trauma throughout my life. To forgive that evil won and I have been unable to thrive in life, but forgive the perpetrators? Never. And here we are, 7 years later, and the thriving is starting to take place, babies. On my little groove, in my little dance space, dancing as fast as I can, loving the ones that love me, making my jewellery, even going back to the markets on Saturday, so in a few days' time. Gosh, that's gone quick this week. And living the best version of myself that I can muster, given I have serious health issues. And even looking forward to falling in love again. Sweet. Probably delusional, but sweet. 29th of November 2015. Jared and I are continuing the paparazzi saga. New puppy, same hammocks, listening to Chris Isaak and counting our blessings that this time the mama has a healthy dog that cannot be held hostage by the original sociopath owner, laughing my ass off. He is a happy little fella. This time, Sophie rather likes him, and Penny gave him the hump. Can't please all the animals all of the time, but Penny did fall in love with Alcide instantly, which for a cat mother is highly unusual. Mushu likes him and Socks is still ambivalent. Jared requests that our Sunday night hammock fest no longer involves driving all over Brisbane to buy puppies. We bought Beauregard from Inala, lol. The GPS sent us in giant circles of Brisbane twice, actually sent us all the way over to Moggle. And I kept saying, Jared, this is way off course. This GPS is so wrong. But as men often do when it comes to directions, he wanted to believe the GPS. And I said, no, I will get us to Inala. And in the end I did, using my own homing instinct. Because I used to anyway have a very good sense of direction. So good that I had 2 women friends who were hopeless that would ring me up and say, we've got to go to such and such a place and I'm nervous and I'm always getting lost. Can you just, be the co-pilot and navigate us there? And so I did that. I did that for Gail, and on occasion I did it for Lynn. But the GPS has improved since then, sometimes. But I still have a knack of knowing when the GPS is wrong, like the time it tried to take Lynn and I to a dead end somewhere over Albion, and I went, nope, that's wrong, it's completely wrong. We have to reroute. And she didn't believe me and she kept driving, and sure enough, it was a dead end. And I just looked at her and went, when are you going to learn to trust my instincts over a fucking computer? It's surprising how often the computers get things wrong, by the way. But anyway, my sense of direction is not quite as good now because I don't drive as often as I used to do, and the roads and everything keep changing. So the problem I'm having now is I have this road map sort of imprinted somewhere in my neurons, and I will remember a road or how to get a direction, for example, of a place, but it'll be from fucking 20 or 30 years ago, and I'll get there and it's all, the roads are changed or it's all blockaded, and that throws me for a 6 because my inner map is quite correct according to 20 or 30 years ago, and then I have to make a new map in my brain, and the stress that causes me. But if I go the same place a few times, I recalibrate the map in my brain and I can find my way, even fucking half asleep, But it's just the relearning and new learning has become a problem as I've got older. I've actually developed a learning disability. I discovered when I started the silversmithing how hard it was for me to teach myself things and how I struggled and the breakdowns I would have, and I'd have to take to my bed sometimes for a few days. Learning soldering, I don't know why. It's actually not that hard, people, once you have all the steps in place and you know what you're doing, but for some obscure reason I had this mental block. So I'd literally sit there with my torch lit, breaking into a fucking sweat, getting myself all distressed. One time I sat and watched Andrew Berry video on soldering 20 times. I would just rewind it, watch it again, rewind it, watch it again. And even after 20 times, I still could not conceptualize what it was I was doing wrong, right? It was crazy making. So I developed a bit of a pet hate for Andrew Berry after that. But it wasn't him, it was me. It was my stress. It was my learning disability. So anyway, and he is a wonderful teacher and gives wonderful classes on YouTube for free, which is amazing, amazing man. And all my other YouTube teachers are amazing people sharing their knowledge for free. But every now and then you stumble across one that actually doesn't know shit, and you're watching it and you're like, no, that's not right. That's not how it's done. And then you kind of have to chuckle because new people that have no clue, that might see the very poor tutors, are watching it, learning bad freaking skills and tips, right? Wondering why they can't get things to work. So that happened to me a few times when I stumbled across people like that. So I have a set playlist of jewellery teachers on YouTube that I know are trustworthy and aren't sending you on a bum stare, right? That came hard won by lots of hit and miss experiences. But you know what? It was fun. It was part of the journey. And if I was in an apprenticeship, I would have had someone standing over me going, "This is, you have to do this, you have to do that." And they might not have had the patience to sit with me while I repeated something 20 times either. Or the resources, because I'm using my own silver and my own goods. So if I fuck it up and I have to redo it, it's my own resources. But if you're in an apprenticeship and you're using someone else's silver or gold, I don't think they would have tolerated me having to repeat something 20 times. They would have got really angry with me. So there was a kind of a luxury in self-teaching and making your own mistakes and learning the fucking hard way. So you learn to save money on resources and learn to be proficient enough that you don't fuck it up 20 times, right? Oh dear goddess. Oh dear goddess. It got almost comical in the end. But I got there in the end, and I'm very proud of my achievement, given that I did it all by myself from YouTube videos and from my metalsmith groups that also gave wonderful advice and encouragement, especially when I was teaching myself casting, which they later said to me is actually an advanced skill. And they said, "What are you doing as a beginner teaching yourself casting?" I said, "Well, I've got lots of silver I need to melt down and recycle, so it's logical that I need to learn casting." And they said, "Yeah, but it's actually something in a more advanced apprentice learns, like at least 3 or 4 year apprentice. And we're really impressed with you, how you just dived in and gave it a go." And there were lots of mistakes I made with that too, lots and lots. But every time I would post the photos on the group and say, "What did I do wrong? This is coming good. I'm getting better at this, but why did this go wrong?" And they were so wonderful and encouraging and really, really fought hard for me to learn that skill, right? It was those women in that group fighting for me because they could see how determined and passionate and stubborn I am. But they also saw that I was authentic and honest. I'd say, "Look, this has gone wrong and I know what I did wrong here, but can you just help me because I don't know what went wrong with this one, and I'm a bit lost, I'm a bit confused." And they would look at it with their critical, well-seasoned, experienced eye and went, "Oh, you didn't have enough fence here," or "You need to move the sprue." They were so wonderful to me. And by the way, that is another thing that I had never ever had before in my entire life, was learning a skill or, even in school. I would be put down and degraded. I had teachers in high school that were so utterly degrading. One told me that I was going to fail history, right? She was an evil bitch. And then this was for school certificate, right? And and when I came back the next year for sixth form to do my university entrance year, she was such an evil bitch. She said, "Oh, what grade did you get?" I said 60%, which isn't a very good grade, but it's a pass, man. And she looked at me and went, "You could have done better." And I just looked at her. I didn't even reply. I thought, "You are such low-level scum trash. You're not fit to be a teacher in a high school. You're just a low-level entity." And her name was Miss Evans. I'll never forget her ugly, sneering face. And I looked at her, and that was the biggest lesson I got from that woman. I thought, you are an example of someone I never want to be as long as I live. And I worked very hard at, never putting anyone down like that, unless they started with me first, of course. Never. And always trying to encourage people and always trying to uplift them rather than tear them down, because I lived that fucking nightmare as a young child, 15 years old. It was appalling how I was treated. So it's another reason why I have a phobia of joining clubs where, you know, people wanted me to join lapidary clubs so I could learn silversmithing there. But a lot of the lapidary clubs don't teach silversmithing anymore. But it would have still been useful to learn how to cut stones, right? I might do it one day. But I still have a real phobia of joining clubs where you have to have lessons on anything, because the bullying and the viciousness that ultimately happens because of human nature, I can't participate in it. I just walk away. I can't deal with it, literally can't deal with it. It's too much. So these Facebook groups that I was in, one did go toxic. The first one I joined 3 years ago went rancid, you know, yet again, went awful it was. So I just walked away, joined this other Facebook group who are wonderful, women all over the world. Some are seasoned, experienced jewelers of 50 years experience, giving their advice and guidance for free to people like me that pop up and go, oh, I've made a mistake with this, can you show me where I went wrong? Because I have no idea, because I'm new. And they're so generous and so kind. I can't speak highly enough of them. Women's Metalsmith Collective on Facebook. If you're a woman and you're teaching yourself, you know, how to make jewellery, in particular metalsmithing, join that group. The women on there are so supportive and so wonderful, and you will feel so soul nourished. And I'm so grateful for that. It actually inspired me to even think maybe, you know, down the track of getting a mature age apprenticeship. But again, I'm hesitant because my health is shit and my nervous system is shit. And if I get an apprenticeship with someone that's a bit dominating and bullying and a bit awful, it'll just break me down again. I'll be back to square one. So no, for now I'm quite content in learning my little bits and pieces, you know, at my own pace and taking delight in that. Anyway, I continue with my reading where we talked about how the GPS sent us in giant circles of Brisbane twice. And then I continue, it was like a road to discovery or a nervous breakdown, lol, which I really was actually having a kind of nervous breakdown, having just had Elsie torn from me by a malevolent dog. Not the dog, but the owner. Jared was so stressed, he bit his tongue because I was stressed. I was swearing at the machine that it was most definitely not at Moggle, and it was an idiot. Me yelling at a machine, right? That's how stressed we were. I swore a lot and got hysterical and said, maybe it's a sign to give up on getting a puppy. So, on the way back home with our new Bo, my little puppy, we saw a license plate in front of us that said, I shit you not, Bo, 63. Bo is 6 weeks old, 3 weeks younger than our seed. We also saw a plate that said W-A-K, whack. I said to Jared, I support the Wax family, so this is another confirmation that I did the right thing buying little Beauregard. We were even driving on Bow Desert Road, lol. Also, Bo is the masculine name for Bella, my beautiful little girl Pomeranian that died in 2000. I put that she died in 2007, but that can't be right. I got her in 2006 when Jasmine handed her over to me. She didn't die in 2007, she died in 2012, I think it was. Anyway, so fingers crossed this one is my forever friend. And my friend Tarina wrote, "Fingers crossed for you that this turns out beautifully." And I replied, "Please God, calling breakdowns. Buying happiness in the form of fur babies is getting dangerous, winky face." And Tarina replied, "No, you have a beautiful new soul in your care. Kiss, kiss." The breeder lied to me about Alcide being sick for the rest of his life. He is fine. So she basically refunded my money, didn't tell me he was fine, and is going to resell him for full price. She maligned me on her page. I am horrified. A friend went on her group page and saw the lies she told about me. She defended me. So no, Alcide. But I am relieved he is healthy again. I suspect she lied to me about him staying overnight at her vet also. Or she's a piece of shit. Or she's an evil piece of shit, that woman. Here I am, all these years later, still fucking angry about it. It was awful. I am stunned, hurt and mortified. I fall for every sociopath on the planet. The truth came out very quickly, as it always does. Jared is helping me find another puppy, so I will try again to get an assistance dog and another soulmate. Jared was determined. He said, "If we don't get a puppy today, you're just going to flounder around in grief and lose more weeks and months and suffer like an animal." He said, I can't watch it happen. We're getting a puppy, Tanya. We're getting a puppy today." And so we did. And he's a true brother to me, looking after my interests and caring about me. Very, very blessed. 4:03 a.m, home from dancing with Mission X. Rocked out like a wild child on acid. I can't feel my feet again. I actually met a guy who seemed interesting, but I got put off by his overtly sexual offers. Ugh. I'm not interested in men who have no real seduction techniques except to be crass. I'm definitely no longer available. The whole thing bores me to tears. Done with liars, cheats and creeps. Prefer to dance and come home alone to my cats. Yup, crazy cat crone. I miss Alcide and I miss a decent man, but you know, the house is quiet and peaceful. Why complicate my life and sacrifice my freedom? So that was 2016, right? Here we are, trying to stay uncomplicated, even though I'm willing to open up to true love again, which must be almost a self-flagellating wound. I'll have to be wary of that I don't fall for another trickster spirit. That would be awful, really would. 29th of November 2014. Yesterday in the beach at Byron, I kept sinking in the sand, at one point to a depth of about 12 inches. 1 foot sinking down 1 foot, which made me feel rather footloose. This was before we walked back to discover the little frog. I joked that Gaia wanted me inside her to call me home. Famous last words, since I almost got called home the following year, right? I always have these kind of precognitive notions that I think are jokes turned out to be a little bit too real. Now it seems it wasn't so unlikely. Mother will claim each one of us one day, but wow, that little boy is lucky to have survived that wild experience. Very Alice in Wonderlandian, down the rabbit and or hobbit hole we go. Kabbalah teaches there are 49 gates to holiness. but I didn't think they meant actual sinkholes, lol. That was in response to an article called The Mystery of the Man-Eating Sand Dune Holes that swallowed a 6-year-old. Scary thought. On the way home to Crystal's place, we went freeganing. We got a big bag of macadamia nuts, fresh from the trees. So excited. Today in Byron Bay, we found a shop called Sacred Geometry that sold the most stunning carved wands and amazing sacred geometric jewellery. There was a wand I dearly wanted, carved as a mermaid. Oh, I wish I had the money. I still wish I'd bought that wand. And another as a black raven. I wanted them so bad. I wish I had a spare $200 to buy the mermaid. She was amazing. She really was. I love mermaids. Then I went into another shop and got chatting to a young woman who had a mermaid painted on the back wall of her shop. She encouraged me to move to Byron, or at least to visit more often. Then the visitation from the frog happened. It was an awesome day. I feel very happy and blessed. Lila Tov. Good night. 12:47 p.m. Just woke up. My mouth is still sore where she did the injection. Swollen, tender, damn it. My Achilles heels hurt in both feet. What the fuck? I'll be resting today. It hurts to walk. If I feel better tonight, I might go dancing. I will see how I feel. See how intrepid I am? I am so glad I had such a beautiful day at Byron Bay with Jared and Crystal. I catch myself staring at her with such immense love that it is almost a tad creepy. Mothers can be weird too. I know she will be gone in 6 months' time, so I just want to eat her up while she is still with me. Poor kid, 29, and so amazingly beautiful and talented, but oblivious to how much the mama adores her. I also adore my friend Jared. My God, I am blessed with such awesome, devoted friends. I have to ask myself, why on earth, with my track history of romantic nightmares, would I ever pine for a sexual partner to settle down for longevity with me? My friends have stood with me through the good, bad, and uglies, and downright written off disasters in my life, and have raised me up each time I fell into the abyss of destiny's shithole, and have breathed breathed love, light, peace back into me with balms of trust, faith, hope, and so much love. Who am I to doubt that I am a worthy person in this planet? They never let me go. They never forget me, and they never stop loving me for who I am and whom I yet may be. Blessed, loved, and lovable woman here. And I've grown a lot in that 7 years since I wrote that in 2014. Grown exponentially. I actually have grown exponentially since the suicide attempt in 2015. Like, as potentially life-threatening and dangerous it really was, It was the fucking best thing that ever happened to me. But I don't recommend it because suicide is painless, but it's permanent. So don't try that stunt. I'm not advocating it. I'm just saying that oddly in my own life experience, it was the ass kick from the cosmos that I kind of needed to really start working hard at turning my life around. Instead of being at the mercy of malevolent, low-level entity curs, I reclaimed my life. And it wasn't easy. It's been harrowing. A long, long, hard struggle in the last 8 years. But here I am, ready to begin my life afresh with new loves, new potentiates, maybe get my silversmithing up and off the ground by the grace of the gods, planning a trip home in February for 4 days, to say hello and goodbye to my birthplace in the event that I do die. Not that I'm planning on dying, but one never knows. It's time I went home anyway. And looking forward to beginning a new love relationship with someone wonderful who has my back and my front and is grateful and joyous and delighted to stand by my side as an equal, just loving each other and be surrounded by our beautiful friends and family and community. That's what I'm working towards, people. Even though it hasn't manifested yet, that's the future I want for myself. Truly loving, nurturing, nourishing, supportive, caring, tender, romantic, passionate, loyal, faithful, life-affirming, life-sustaining, not just for my, silly old chook existence, but for everyone that chooses to be with me in my life, surrounding me, together. Ubuntu love, Ubuntu, holding each other up in dark times, laughing together, loving each other, being there for each other, no matter what. Because, sometimes I can be a crazy motherfucker at times. I admit it. I'm not perfect. No one is. We all have our moments when we spiral under into despair, But I'm getting better at not spiraling under quite so often too, with the getting of wisdom and the aging process, I suppose, having lived through so much horror. Sometimes you just stand back and you fold your arms and you go, really, really, na'afu. And that too was a beautiful thing, the getting of wisdom. 29th of November 2013. No dancing or drinking for the wild one this weekend. Oh, foot still can't bear my weight, let alone leap about on it, and the heavy antibiotics are killing me. I feel weak as a dead kitten. I saw my shrink who commented how flat I look. So he told me to take Yakult because the antibiotics make you feel sick because they kill all the good stuff in the bowel. I bought some. Hopefully I'll be back on my feet with my superlative zest for life by next weekend. Probably should buy some again actually, because I am feeling a bit flat. Just feeling a bit drained. It is what it is, people, Between the asthma and all the other issues, it's very debilitating. 29th of November 2012. Lynn bought me the baby monitor and it is on now. We went to the police and reported the incident. Council phoned me and they have informed the guy with the Alsatian that he will get fined next time and he has 7 days to register his dog. They also told me they were concerned about other dogs in my street and will be speaking to owners. Now waiting for retaliation from Rex's owner, as he told council he knew who reported him for walking his dog off leash. Well, stop fucking murdering my chickens and I wouldn't have reported you, you cunt. Honestly. Anywho, really glad Lynn brought over the monitor, as he won't suspect that I am prepared this time and can hear any fracas in the backyard. And eventually that horrible man moved away, for which I am glad. Oh, he was a horrible, horrible individual. He really was. 29th of November 2011. I saw the doctor today, who, as per usual, all of them, couldn't find anything wrong with my chest, which is irksome, as I still feel very tight. Oh well. How many years medical degree do they study? And they can't diagnose a chest infection when it presents right in front of them, gasping for air? Like, for the love of God. At least the prednisone has opened up the airways, so I'm coughing a lot less and feeling about 75% better. Unfortunately, prednisone also sends me batshit fucking crazy, so I avoid taking it because of the intense hypomania it causes. I'm going to have a chest x-ray, as Gail insists I should have one. I had a nice day with Gail and Talia, fish and chips for dinner and a nice bottle of wine I shared with Gail and a former friend from the Jewish community. I hope you continue to feel better, and that sighs because another one that went rancid. Thanks. Been sick for 21 days. Mediation is on 9th of December, so I hope I'm fully recovered by then, as it will be a harrowing day. Jared, Lynn and Crystal will be coming with me that day as my support team. And my ex-boyfriend's mother, Sybil, wrote, so obviously I was still in good terms with her that year. I have read all info. My thoughts and love will be with you on the 9th. Thanks, Sybil. My lawyer says most of it is rubbish, but the letter from my sister they used as evidence actually corroborates my affidavit about our childhood, so will actually help my case rather than destabilise it, as the Shearers hoped. That's how evil they were. Tried to call me a liar about my experiences of child sexual abuse as a child. Those women, those Shearer women, deserve to die for what they put me through. And yes, I'm saying that in public, out loud, on the internet, for all to hear, because that's how I still feel about those evil, evil, disgusting women. And their father, by the way. So I feel less brutalised now. Unfortunately, there will be more muck thrown before Friday. I just have to try to ignore them. And my then friend wrote, Tanya, I want you to know that you will be in my mind and prayers for your ordeal on Friday. If only all the people who know and love you could change all of this experience for you, we would script it so differently. You deserve love and kindness and great happiness. She actually also knew my mother quite well, knew what kind of a person my mother was, so she was being very kind and supportive. Thank you so much. I have been surrounded by great evil all my life and have had to fight for my very survival from my own blood and their henchmen. The sharers are the last wickedness from my mother's and her husband's residual evil, viciousness, greed, and lies about me. They have sent so much vileness as evidence for the court that it is laughable. Old, crazy, paranoid letters from Buck, lying stat decks from his associates. My lawyer says most of it is nonsensical rubbish, not even allowed in court. And yet somehow I still lost that will dispute. Can we say evil malfeasance, anyone? It's taken me a long, long time to heal from that too. Concurrently healing from the debauched false love affair with Dave, vicious friends at the casino, all of that came to a head in 2015. Only the letter from Angela to my mother in 2000 and the unsigned will from 2000 actually vindicate my testimony on my original affidavit for my claim to the estate. My sister, who did not want to support me, ironically writing a nasty letter, vindicated me. So my angels and the gods indeed do move in mysterious ways. And as I always say, and you can, if I ever get buried, because I'll probably get cremated, but you can write that on my epitaph. Never fuck with the Tanya. So the judge will immediately see I have only been truthful, and the lying accusations of those evil people will go against them, or so I hope. If I lose this case and continue on in poverty, I will know that evil always wins. It sure as shit does. And there is no justice for me in this world. I cannot bear the thought of that, so I fight on. I think of myself as a great warrior, but I am hurt and tired, and I know I deserve a much, much better life than this. Thank you for your love and support. This little warrior has been gifted in life with beautiful friends who love me, uphold me, fight alongside with me when they can, encourage me, guide me, and let me run free without judgment or criticism. This has been my true wealth and joy in life. Without these nurturing souls, I would not be here today. This is my blessing. My only hope now is for a better future, cleansed and rejuvenated, shining, joyous, wise, peaceful, and filled and surrounded by love, so I can flourish instead of merely survive. I think I can see this as a real possibility. Love, Tanya. And I wrote that in 2011, completely broken and beaten down by that will dispute. And often, 4 times during that 2.5 years, I was suicidal. That's how rotten and evil it all was, and what I had to fight back from. And here we are, 2023, and I'm happy and grateful to be alive, albeit still with significant health issues that have dogged me all my life. So nothing new under the sun, babies. And I'm thriving in my own unique, eccentric little ways. And I'm in love with life and in love with certain people and in love with my bird Charlie, who's the only pet I have left, apart from the goldfish, of course, and in love with my true, devoted, loyal, loving friends, and in love with myself. And for the first time in my life, ever, at 58 and years and 7 months, and what is it now, 17 days, I feel excited and inspired and hopeful and in love with my future. I think my next few years, unless there's more evil malfeasance unleashed on our planet, which has been an intense few years, but I think for me personally, if I can ride through the storm and the drang of the current epoch, my life is going to be utterly awesome and full of joy and bliss and in love and surrounded by love, and I won't accept anything less, you know. I simply won't. Preferable to be alone than to accept anything less than truest, deepest, most honouring, most devoted, most caring love in my life, in however manifestations that comes to me. In my life experience, often just from the sweetness of a little dog waiting at the gate for me, or my bird nibbling on my arm, or a butterfly landing on me, or bees that often come and sit just in front of my schnoz and bzz to me. I had a blue-banded bee yesterday. I was sitting in the garden having a cup of tea, and it sat just to the right of me and buzzed, and it was just so happy. It didn't come and land on me as bees often do. It just buzzed around me, and I listened to its buzzing, which was like a high vibrational song, and I thought, this is why I'm alive, for the love that comes in all kinds of myriad ways, in all life forms. And I was happy, and I am grateful, and I am happy. I was happy in that moment, and I am happy and grateful. Oh, I'm bursting out all over. Oh, Mama T, what have you got going on, baby? Put that away. Yeah, I'm happy and grateful in that moment for the love that is surrounding me now. And it's been a long, hard, uphill battle to reach this beautiful plateau. And I'm still waiting for the vista to open out in front of me and to present to me the one whose heart is truly mine by his own choice and will and desires and manifestations, with true heartfelt pure intent for not just his love but my love, joined together as one. So on that note, Mama T's getting a bit romantic and silly in her old age as she's skirtling around the edges of the death spiralling. But don't worry, I bounce back very quickly and very astonishingly. So be ready, boys, to watch me come back from the depths of the abyss and fly like a skyrocket in night. Afternoon delight. That's an in-joke, by the way, gifted to me by Spirit the other day. Oh, I laughed so much. It was hilarious. But I don't really want afternoon delights, you know. I don't want any sneaky sneaking around or anything sordid. I certainly don't want married men or men who are in partnerships with other women. That's just sordid. So no afternoon delights or backdoor men. Yuck. But anyway, I'm sure that song is referencing, making love in the afternoon, which I suppose could be delightful. Why am I setting limitations on myself on something that hasn't even manifested yet? That's a bit ridiculous. Stop it now, Tanya. Allow true love to manifest beautifully. Maybe for the first time in my life be meant for me for a change with no doubts, no fears, no sabotage, and no extraneous others interfering malevolently. It was prophesied over 30 years ago that I would meet someone when I'm 60. And who knows? Who the hell knows? I mean, their timing was a bit out too, because they also prophesied that I would have my hysterectomy when I was 50, right? And that actually happened when I was 42. So the timelines can be a bit flubbery, so who knows? I'm giving a little smirk because who knows? Not I. But I have my hopes up. I'm seeing souls light up around me, even in my dance space. And I'm really delighting in that, even though nothing's manifested into a love affair yet. I'm delighting in that. It's sweet. It's sweet and it's endearing. And it's a sign from the gods that the one is coming to me, of his own will, in his own heart, his own mind, his own soul, his own spirit, with genuine intentions towards me. So I'm looking forward to that. Sweet little psychedelic dreamer. Even with death planted on her front lawn for Halloween. The truest, most deepest love of all, the one that will release me from this mortal coil and gently, nourishingly, nurturingly bring me into the next dimension. I can hear the laughter in the spheres going, "Nuh-uh, fool. Nuh-uh, fool. You got plenty of living ahead of you and plenty of loving ahead of you. We'll wait. We just wanted to stir you up a bit and remind you. Remain humble. Know that life is made for the living. Stay real. Stay authentic. Stay courageous." But we'll be dancing that lambada another time, beloved ones. I did say to a recent person that was showing and has shown interest in me that I should go and learn the tango, but that would be a bit weird because I'm so fat. I did see a woman on Facebook doing the tango, and it was actually still very elegant and stylish. I didn't like the clothes she had on though. She was wearing like leggings. If she'd put on a gorgeous dress, oh, that would have been stunning. So you know what? I've never wanted to learn formal dancing because I'm a rebel and I dance to my own tune and I move my body ecstatically and organically according to my emotional state and the music. But I wouldn't mind actually learning the tango. And that, my friends, is a metaphor for life. Living la vida loca, and passionate and wild and free and sensuous. You gotta laugh. At least I have fun with my little, manifestations, but no man infestations. No fisty men allowed. Nice, honouring, gorgeous, adoring men are always welcome. But time will tell, I guess. And on that note, it's now 10:49 a.m. and I have Twitter-pated and chatted and read my readings to you for 2 hours and 9 minutes. Oh my goodness. I must have done a lot of segueing because I don't think today's readings was meant to be this long. Oops. So if you've stayed with me for the duration, you must really like me, or no, never mind. I hope that my offerings today are of some inspiration or comfort or guidance to you. And if not, you have the power of the X button, babies. God's bless. Have a wonderful day in the space-time continuum, wherever you are on planet Earth or in the other dimensions. And shalom, and I love you. I don't know you, but I love you. Why do I love you? Because you exist, and I exist, and the gods exist, and love is, as always, the law. So, have a wonderful day and be happy, people. Bye for now.